Now, it has been seen as the final roll of the dice to prevent Julian Assange's extradition to the United States. This week, a top court in London is hearing a case brought by the lawyers of the WikiLeaks founder. He faces multiple indictments in the US linked to the publication of secret military files about the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And today, lawyers for the US government are setting out their case in the court. Well, that court is the Royal Courts of Justice in central London, and our London correspondent Benedict Pavio is there bringing us up to speed. Benedict, what's the US government's argument today in court as to why Assange should be extradited?
In one word, really, espionage. So, as you said, day one of this permission to appeal hearing was about the defense legal team of Julian Assange and why he should not be extradited in this really last-ditch effort to stop his extradition to the United States. But today is the US team, and they will be putting forward various arguments and very much espionage charges in the United States, for which they want Julian Assange, the co-founder of WikiLeaks, to be extradited as soon as possible. So Assange's lawyers were asking the High Court to stop this, but today, and they've just begun, the US legal team will want the 52-year-old Australian to face the indictments, the 17 charges of espionage and one charge of complete misuse, computer misuse over his website publication of over 700,000 classified documents. So very serious charges that Julian Assange is facing here. And according to his legal team, 175 years in prison, which is denied by the Americans, who say it's not 175 years, it would be much shorter. And of course, what the Americans will also, in their legal defense team, be saying very much is they have given assurances that he will get a fair trial, and also that he will be treated in a fair manner if and when he does actually go to prison. This, of course, is disputed very much. You can possibly hear behind me a very, very noisy chanting from the supporters. We think that Julian Assange is, again, not in court today. He wasn't yesterday. He was granted permission to be, but he remains in, as for the last 5 years, in the high-security prison of Belmarsh in the outskirts of London, awaiting, really, his fate.
You mentioned his supporters there, Benedict. Assange certainly a divisive figure, isn't he? But he does have plenty of supporters, many of whom say this case is about more than Assange himself. This is, they say, a question of press freedom.
Indeed, and this is why the very noisy supporters, who some have queued from very early morning, some have come from various countries around the world, and although the Americans are very much seeking to say that Julian Assange is an activist, not just a journalist, and that he's put other people's lives at risk, what these supporters are saying, what the National Union of Journalists is saying, what Reporters Without Borders are saying, is that this would have a chilling effect and repercussions, not just for journalism here in the United Kingdom or indeed in the United States, but around the world, where what would really be the decisions made by journalists when they do either seek to obtain leaked documents, what could the consequences be if and when they report them, and how this is essential to any democracy to have these kind of investigative, whether it's data journalism or other revelations. So his supporters say he's actually exposed war crimes, exposed particularly to do with the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and that he's been serving a very important purpose of accountability and transparency of the United States and the way in which they conduct their behavior in these leaks, revealed in these leaks of over 700,000 documents that are cable and military top secret documents. Of course, let's remember, we've all got so used to the internet and leaks and publications of all kinds, but it had never been done before. I remember standing outside the court back in 2010 when Julian Assange was first arrested. He pressed a button and the whole world could then read these leaks or indeed see footage, for example, of an American US helicopter shooting down at civilians in Baghdad. It's easy to forget how monumental those revelations were, and that is why the world's press is watching very much the Assange case and wondering what the implications, depending on whether he loses his battle, in which case he would go to the ECHR, we understand from his legal team, the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, which would then suspend for some time or not his extradition, or if he wins this hearing to get a full hearing, in which case he would then have an avenue yet again in the British judicial system. If he loses, it's the end of his British judicial potential appeals. That's it.
Bénédicte Paviot in London. Thank you.